actor, scriptwriter, novelist, human rights champion, peace activist, perpetual rebel, and a perennial outsider. She has navigated each of these roles with great ease and spontaneity. And as all of you can see, she is all of a piece. She is all of a piece. I immediately recall my first encounter with, not with Aditi Roy, but with an artistic persona. I was on the National Film Award jury in the year 1989, and her film, which she scripted and gives to all, was one of the entries. All of us enjoyed the film with its playful mix of ingredients drawn from the School of Architecture where she studied. There was a certain quality of anarchic humor in that film which appealed to us, and we decided to give an award to the film and also an award to the scriptwriter. That was my first encounter with Aditi Roy's artistic persona. And in those days, the award jury, that was the Film Awards and Scientific Academy Awards, comprised men of who were many, who were chosen on the basis of their CV or biodata. But those days are gone forever, and now you can see what's happening around you. Whether it is the Scientific Academy Award or the Film Award, how people with strong influence are able to manipulate awards. But then this is Naya India, this modified India, not the India which Aditi Roy and I were born into, but that's a different story. I'm not sure if this award gave her a true break. It was a low budgeted film, and she continued to write films for such so-called art films, off-beat films. But here, her real break came with the writing of her first novel, Goddess Mortals, which won the Booker Prize. That turned her into a celebrity, an internationally accepted writer. That book, as you know, has sold out in tens of thousands of copies. It has emerged as a cult classic, a mini cult classic. And the novel has been dissected by critics and scholars all across the world in different ways. It has been rightly praised for the mythic imagination which is at work in the novel, and for the luminosity of her prose style, the magic, the luminosity of her prose style, for the element of humor and satire in that novel, the evocation of the place called Aimanam, evocation of the Veena, etc., etc. It's a multi-layered novel which has been looked upon from different angles. If you ask me, she did to Aimanam what William Faulkner did to Yogyakarta, Mississippi. In fact, the novel has its Faulknerian echoes. She placed the small village town called Aimanam in the international literary map, in the map of fictional landscapes. That was the major thing she achieved, the writing of the Goddess Mortals. Aimanam became, as famous, as widely discussed as, let's say, Hardy's Wessex or Faulkner's Yogyakarta. It occupies a place in the international fictional landscape. I know she has always prioritized the element of caste cleavage in that novel. It's a multi-layered novel, which is notable for its acute psychological penetration, which is remarkable for the subtle play of humor, irony, and which is famous for its evocation of a place called Aimanam. With this novel, Arundhati placed herself in a particular manner in the community of world-renowned writers. Somewhere in the new book, Mother Mary Comes to All, Arundhati says, fame is a trap That's a line, which has struck a chord in me. Fame is a trap. Fame could have been a trap for her. After the book, her photo appeared in all kinds of fancy magazines. She could have played a Cinderella kind of role, a fancy girl kind of thing. But she refused to do that. She chose to become a dissenter, a rebel in her own way. He started questioning some of her certainties. He started questioning the ways of the ruling dispensation. Hers was the voice of dissent. Hers was the voice of unsubdued rebellion, which disturbed many people. It created its own reverberation. Whether it was on the question of Kashmir's autonomy, or on the question of the treatment of Naxalites, people in the northeast and the corporate greed, Arundhati annoyed the ruling dispensation with her candid views, and that placed her in a particular oppositional paradigm. She had a brush with the highest court in the land. And there was a time when this frail woman literally took on the might to the Indian state. But she was undeterred. There were cases against her, threat to her life, etc., etc. But Arundhati went her independent way. She had a chosen path, a chosen destiny. That was to play the role of the discerned writer, the dissenter, who asks uncomfortable questions, who makes you sleepless with questions which are loaded with irony, sarcasm, which are aimed at the prevailing drift in the country. So Arundhati Roy found herself in the opposite camp in a country which is slowly drifting towards fascism. What she has always opposed is that toxic mix of majoritarian sentiment and hyper-nationalism. She has always been against this dangerous cocktail of hyper-nationalism and the majoritarian sentiment. And that has put her in direct confrontation with the ruling dispensation. But Arundhati is not the one to be subdued. She has taken great risks, and her voice is still loud and clear. She is unabashed about her opposition to what's going on in the country, the ways of the ruling dispensation. So, no amount of court case, no amount of threat from fanatical fringe groups, from supremacist organizations have been able to subdue her. She remains her true self even now. Her much awaited second novel came after 20 years after the publication of God of Small Things. Her 20 years of activism had gone into that novel, giving it a particular tenor, a particular text. Well, I don't realize that, critical opinion was somewhat divided about the second novel. Some felt that there is an overcrowding of themes and motifs, Well, that's the way, that the novel is built. That's the tapestry of the novel, where she took a hard, unflinching look at the current Indian reality. We have recently published it. Other media comes to me. That again is become international bestseller, sold out in millions of copies. Once again, she is back in the limelight. So we need writers like Edgar, people who ask uncomfortable questions, people who cannot be, easily purchased, subdued or purchased. It was Rajakrishnan who said in one of his novels, I think it's the first circle, that for a country to have a great writer is almost like having a parallel government, almost like having another government. Solzhenitsyn was almost another government to Soviet Russia. That is why he was exiled He led a life of a long period of exile, a solitary exile. So that is the crux of the matter. For a country to have a great writer is almost like having a parallel government. This role Arundhati has performed with unflinching honesty all these years. It's no easy job to withstand so much of pressure, so much of intimidation, threat, so much of coercion from the ruling establishment, so much of hate campaign. But she has withstood all that, and she is now with us with a familiar smile. Once again, the daughter of Aymanam, she has come to claim her rightful place in Kerala. Maybe this is her first real visit to the Trivandrum city. So we are in every sense, happy to have in our midst Aditya Roy, a writer almost on par with Salman Rushdie, two of the great writers, who have a bonding with India. At this moment, I miss another Malayalam writer. I wish he was here with us. I wish he was alive. That's O. Vijay. Like Arundhati Roy, a perennial outsider, a perpetual rebel. Arundhati Roy, in somewhere in her new book, says that I have a way of turning every every safe place into an unsafe place. She has a way of, unanchoring, that's a long expression, herself from each haven that she occupies. Likewise, Vijayan was also a never-do-well character, always ill at ease in whichever dispensation he was, always questioning, asking disturbing questions. In Vijayan's case, it was confrontation with the inner epoch in Indian politics. When it came to Aditya Roy's time, the battle lines changed. She stands in direct opposition to the neo-fascist forces, the Sangha Parivar forces, which are taking India in a particular direction. The battle lines have altered from Vijayan's time to Aditya Roy. But there's a kind of, spiritual kinship between Arundhati and Vijayan, which I can easily notice. So I genuinely miss Vijayan on his location. Plus one right. Again, there are some obvious parallels between Khazaki Nidihasam and Goddess Mortals. The quality of the mythic imagination that work in both novels. There are some parallels. The way Arundhati and Vijayan have woven, legends and folk songs and long forgotten myths into a beautiful tapestry. Again, the element of phantasmagoria or fantasy at work in both these novels. There's more of it in Khazaki Nidihasam than in Arundhati's novel, but there is more of a playful, whimsical humor in Goddess Mortals. So we are in every sense, happy to have in all this. And the Roy, who has played multiple roles in our public life over the last 20 or 30 years. We are happy that she is here to receive an award. The first ever award instituted by the Malayalam Foundation for total contribution to literature. An award that happens only once in 3 years. So the next award will be in the year 1929. So personally speaking, I am happy to have been the chairperson of the jury, comprising C. Rahim and the person which decided on the award. For us, it was an easy choice. In no time, our choice fell upon Arundhati Roy. Once again, thank you, Arundhati Roy, for being here. We share with you your apprehension, your anxiety for India's future. And we hope to hear your voice loud and clear in the days and months to come. Thank you.